Hello, everyone. How you doing today? It's Cassandra Williamson, and this time you get to watch me just throw together a real quick little meal for supper for the family. So basically, just got it out of a box in a bag, whatever. It still works. It's still good. So we're going to have some egg rolls, spring egg rolls, and since this is a Kentucky thing, okay, so and I want to make it have a little bit of flavor that might be familiar than something that's not. So I had some, let's see, mashed potatoes have been garnished with bacon and stuff like that, bacon and peppers and peas and things to kind of, balance it out a little bit. So, and also, you know, since I'm busy all the time, it seems like you just have to ride around with me. So first thing though, I've got to open up my drink. And just bear with me because I am right behind the camera. You got to open up my drink. We got this really old timey can opener. This thing it's old. It's old. It is old. Oh my gosh, is it ever? Look at that. Anyway, so it works though. So I'm going to open up my little cherry flavored L8. So I've been working out in the back around behind the house today for my brother Gideon. And we're taking some of the old siding off on the back and putting new stuff on. And yeah, it's good. It's good. So I've been out there unscrewing some slats and putting them, trying to organize it and get all that stuff down so we can put some new fresh sawmill lumber up there. He's going to stain it with a light natural colored, natural Cabot stain, and it looks good. It really looks great. But anyway, so a couple of things. Let me get started here because get a little winded with all this. If I didn't tell you already, this is Cassandra Williamson, and I am coming to you from Hardy, Kentucky, up in the hollers of eastern Kentucky, and I've got a few things going on right here. I think this is going to be tomorrow's meal, though. That's kind of a red beans and rice thing. Oh, I love red beans and rice, don't you? So there's been a lot of stuff going on today. So first thing is, let me get the meals and stuff out. So I've got some egg rolls on some saucers here for my mom. I'm going to put some mashed potatoes on here because I got to, that kind of gives it a hillbilly twist. We're giving it a hillbilly twist. How's that? Hillbilly holler twist. But I've been prone to do that with a lot of different meals and things that I fix because I actually like doing that. I fix a really good egg starter. If you don't know what that is, it's a Cajun fly. It's that type of eggs Benedict, only it's got Cajun seasoning on it. It's good. So I have a really good time with that. And I'm not going to put all this on mine. My brother will be back. He's down brushy. And then the next thing, after I get that done, I'm going to start fixing some dessert. We got the oven preheated to 400 degrees. And all I'm going to do is just take one of these blueberry packs, Martha White, and all I got to do is just add milk to it. So I'm just going to do that, throw it together real quick, so everybody has something to watch to chase all this down. I have to be careful with these because I regulate mom's diabetes level, their sugar level, and it has to be checked every day. So I do that every day, sometimes more than twice, but at least twice a day. And so I have to kind of keep it within a certain range for her. I know that between 80 and 130 or so is probably about the right range. And here lately we've been able to keep it down in that, but I don't want it to drop. Right now, I want to guess, just guessing, it's probably about 150, maybe 160, which means that after she eats and all that, just that food settles down, I'll have to check it and then, give her a shot. She takes an insulin shot twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evening. So hopefully people can still hear me. I've got my microphone on. I don't know if anyone's tuning in or not, but we'll keep on playing the game here. So today's been rather interesting with all the stuff that's going on. My earlier show that I was doing had a lot of stuff that was. I get to this place where I'm doing kind of like a righteous anger, and I have to do it that way because I can't understand people who are so willing to go after other people simply because they are different than them. What's that all about anyway? Where's that stuff come from? I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. It just is baffling to me. So let me get some utensil smoke here. And I've got that. Piece of toast to go with each of these plates. And I get their dessert here in a little bit. It takes a few minutes to do the dessert thing. The oven's already preheated. So I'm going to take this one, and hopefully you can still hear me while I'm going into the back, but I'm taking this back to my sister so she can have something to eat. Let me get you something to drink. My sister can get around in her wheelchair, but let me see what she likes to drink root beer and cherry cola. Let me see what we get. Root beer. All right, we'll get that to her. Okay. I have to do a little persuasion with my sister sometimes because she's only used to certain types of foods and things like that, and so I have to kind of persuade her that it tastes all right. But she's learned that I'm going to fix a few things that she's probably never been introduced to in the past. So kind of have to work into it, but at the same time, she's learned to look very carefully at what I bring to her. That's the funniest thing in the world. Okay, let me take this one to Mom. Hey, Mom. Hey, Mom. Hey, here's supper for you. Got some of those little roll things right there, and toast, and some mashed potatoes that have bacon and stuff in it. So there you go. It is now about 10 after 6 Eastern time. I'm going to lay this right here. Okay, going to get you a towel. Huh? This is hot. You got it? Hey, you ready to eat supper? Supper? Yeah, it's supper time. Yeah. Let me get a towel for you, too. Here you go. Put this right here. Keep you from messing up the clothes. Okay, here you go. This is hot. Now, you want this right here on top of your hands? You got a piece of toast here, mashed potatoes. It's got bacon and stuff in it. And then these little rolls right here, these little rolls you pick up with your fingers and actually eat those. It's a finger food. But there you go. You ready? Here, got some hand in mashed potatoes. Okay, you ready? You want this right now? Or you want to wait? You got a fork right here, and you can just eat them with your bread and toast. Yes. Okay, here you go. A little bit of water under your hand now. You got some water right here, too. I'll get you this cold water. That fork is right here beside you. Fingers. Right here on this side. Okay. You got it? All right. There it is. You got your wood back. It's got some potatoes on it right now. Let me get a washcloth too for your, so you can wash your fingers. All right. Okay, got that and that and that. Now let's go ahead and put together the wild berry muffins. But as I was saying earlier, you just have to kind of watch closely because I don't want to do so much that will actually um, push your blood sugar way up real high. But oh wow, that L8's pretty good. These things you can just eat with your fingers, Mom. You don't need to eat those with your fork. Here you go. You put your bread back right there. Yeah. Yeah, let me put this down for a minute. Here's one of these things. You want to try that? See if you like it or not. It's a roll. It's got stuff inside of it. Like it's almost like a bread. It's not a bread. It's a spring roll. It's good though. At least, as you know, I like a lot of food. So let me throw together this. Now what I'm doing is it requires a half a cup of milk. Right there and put it right there. Get this out. This is the easiest way because so much going on all the time that I really don't want to make a bunch of stuff from scratch when it's convenient to do otherwise. You know what I mean? So this is Cassandra's kitchen right now. Did you get your bite, Mom? Huh? Did you get your bite?
No,
Okay. Okay. Yeah, here it goes. Up to your mouth if you want to. So, mix this stuff up. Here we go, mixing up the mix for the wild berry muffin. And as kids, we always just like to grab these bowls after the fact and clean them out. Oh my God, get a spoon and go take them. That was so much fun. It's getting to be the holidays too, you know, so we have, this is September what? 8th. Today's September the 8th. Tomorrow my brother turns 65 and my dad turned 96. He would have been 96 yesterday. And mom is 86 and be 87 in like 3 months in December. So let me mix this stuff up pretty good. And then I'm going to portion it into each one of the little muffin cups, pans here. But I've got a liner to go into too. You can watch all this too if you want about it. There's so many things I could talk about today having to do with. Well, the one thing I do want to mention kind of briefly is one, if you're not signed up with Erin in the Morning, you need to be. Erin in the Morning keeps all of us in the trans community informed of what's going on. She's done an enormously fantastic job of putting together resources. You can find Erin in the Morning on Substack. And so you can go over there and sign up and get an email sent to you about whenever she publishes stuff. Erin in the Morning, it's Erin Reed, married to Zoe Zephyr, the legislator in Montana, I believe. And so go check her out. Now, one of the reasons I brought that up is that today she put out an article talking about the Department of Justice trying to work out ways to ban trans people from having or buying or owning weapons, guns in this country. And I happen to agree with what Erin said in her piece about this today, is that to a certain extent, there's a lot of what this administration does is it throws things out and sees what will stick and see how much reaction or response they get to it. It's very possible that somebody is doing that with this particular issue with DOJ. It could be orchestrated from the White House. We don't know for sure. There have been no official statements or policies or anything like that made yet. But usually this administration will forecast ahead, will project ahead what it is they're trying to do next. And that's the way they work. So they threw this out to see how people would respond. And oh my goodness, the people over on the deep far side of things, they have absolutely run with this and turned it into a nightmare. Libs of TikTok, you got all of these other people like Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk, Chris Rufo, you name it. All of those policy people and thinking people over on the other side, the people who are pushing all these different agendas, as well as Kevin Roberts at the Heritage Foundation, they're all doing these things. But what Trump is doing, what this administration does, is they throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks, and see what kind of response or reaction they can get from you, us, about it. Now, we have to do something. You can't just sit back and pretend nothing is going on with it, because if you do, then you take the chance of it being worse than it could have been. So we have to kind of play a game with them that they're leading the game on. But that doesn't mean we can't think ahead and be planning for our next steps. We know that, and it's been confirmed by different media sources, that DOJ is in an unofficial capacity looking at ways to strip trans people of any ability to own weapons based on a diagnosis of gender incongruence or gender dysphoria or something like that. And all they have to do is look at the military, what they did with all of the trans people they kicked out for no justifiable reason. The only excuse was, well, they're gender dysphoric and we just don't want them around. And that's what that was all about. But see, with this DOJ thing about taking guns away from trans people or preventing them from owning guns, they're throwing this against the wall, trying to see what will stick. And if we don't respond to it as Americans, then they know they can kind of go with the next thing, and they know they can kind of push it forward. And that's what we're seeing a lot of. And it's just a dumpster fire thing. They just throw it and go, hopefully that'll stick to the wall. So let me finish this while I'm talking with you. But anyway, that's what's happening. And we don't know if the policy will come out of DOJ as a result of that. But we do know that there are conversations about it. I don't want to get people all riled up and in fear and all of that. No, we don't want to walk in fear. We don't do that, do we? We don't need to be walking in fear. And so we just need to be strong, resilient, and whatever comes out of all of this, we just keep moving ahead. You keep living. You keep being the best you could be. Whether you're in service or whether you're a veteran or whether you're an ordinary citizen in the country who's trans, whatever, live your life well. We know that we're a target. We're less than 1% in this country, but we're a convenient, easy target. It's easy to turn a minority into a vilified bunch of people. I mean, it's a tactic that all strong men have used throughout history. It's not new. Benito Mussolini did it in Italy. We know that Hitler did it. Uncle Addie did it in Germany. We know that's what they do. They find an enemy to blame everything on. And I'm telling you, it's just crazy to see and watch all this stuff out there. And then people will tell you, actually, it is that. It's very much that. So it's not going to be the same, okay? The conditions are different. There's a lot of other things taking place. You can't say this full on one thing or full on another. It's it's a difference. It's the same but different. Yeah, literally. There's a lot of nuances to all this stuff, but you still see the same pattern. It still falls within the same definitions. So we just have to be vigilant. And I don't want anybody to go out there and think that you have to sell your guns now to try to preempt it. You don't have to detransition to go out there and try to protect yourself from these idiots. You don't have to do all those things. You have to live. You have to live in peace with yourself and others around you. And if you don't do that, then you become prey to those who will want to go after you. And you can become part of the problem too. Do you know that? I mean, you can become part of this big problem. And the problem being over on the right, on Fox News and whatever, it just takes one person to do something wrong in any given community. There could be millions, which there are of us and trans people. It could be one out of millions and millions of Latinos in the country. One person who does something horrendous will become the poster child for their ideology, blaming everything on that community. That's the right. That's what we see all across the media spectrum on the right. The left does it in opposite directions. They go this way, then they try to turn it into something generic, and then they try to apologize for misusing people's names and pronouns and all this. They fall into the trap on the left just as bad as the right does. So walk down the middle of the road. Be circumspect with what's going on in your lives, okay? We know that this is what's happening in our country. Let me show you. This is what's actually happening in the country. This. First thing is I'll lead in with that particular image right there. Trump threw that little image that you're seeing on your screen right now. He threw it out there into the Twitter sphere and into the media and blogosphere and all this kind of stuff. He threw that image right there that you see now. It's of him in a cowboy hat, playing to a song from Apocalypse Now, playing to a scene from Apocalypse Now. The movie. Remember what that one is? Remember, I think it was who? Charlie Sheen, Martin Sheen. Charlie Sheen said that he loves the smell of napalm in the morning as Vietnam. Well, Trump has put himself into that scene. And this time, what he's saying is, let me go down through here. He loves the smell of deportations in the morning. He took that same scene, put himself in there in a macho masculine image from Apocalypse Now, the cowboy hat, helicopters flying in the background. Remember that scene? I remember that scene clearly from that movie. Helicopters are flying. And I think it's Martin Sheen or Charlie Sheen, somebody anyway. So one of them, and they said, I love the smell of napalm in the morning as bombs were going off, destroying the force and killing the Vietnamese beneath them. Trump, with this, he's making fun of us because he thinks that we are going to tag into this thing and think he's serious about it. But here's the thing, it's kind of a double-edged thing with Trump. It's a joke. It comes across as a joke that he's trying to trigger people to respond, but at the same time, he's telling you how he really thinks. He sees himself that way. But yet, you're not going to see anyone admit that because, they want it to come across as being offensive, but a joke. That way he can say it and do it later because, he's kind of warmed you up to it. He's done this to you. He and Stephen Miller are just standing around gleefully watching this pot of frogs boil on the water. Frogs can't tell that the water is boiling. They can't tell that it's cold. They have they're, cold-natured, cold-blooded animals. So you start those frogs out in that big pot over top of the fire in cool water. Those frogs are just enjoying it, swimming around, and the heat goes up and they're still enjoying it. And eventually it gets so hot they die. That's what these two do. They manipulate things. They propagandize things. They do the Joseph Goebbels thing. His first name was Paul, if you don't know that. But that's what they do. They turn the heat up, and and you can put the green frogs in there all you want, like in the image. The blue frogs, the red frogs, it doesn't matter. They want to accomplish their goal, their, hold on a second. You need some water, Mom? Yeah. Okay. Open the wet right there. Okay, there you go. It's open. Got it? Mm-hmm. So that's what's going on here, folks. They are doing this to the whole country. They're doing this to parents, their children, and their doctors, getting between them for certain things and setting them free on other things because it's ideological, it's not rational. And I use that as an example to lead into this particular person. This is an AI generated image of the Surgeon General of Florida, Dr. Joseph Ladapo. Dr. Ladapo has issued an order saying that vaccines will no longer be mandated. And in so doing, he said this. He said that he believed parents and their children and their doctors should have autonomy to make medical decisions for themselves without having the government standing in the door blocking their way to accomplish it. And he's talking about infectious diseases, because what are vaccines for? It's an infectious disease thing? Yes, read that. They do work. And so, I mean, why do you think we don't have polio anymore? Or at least not much of it. Why do you think we have very little smallpox and very little occurrences of measles or rubella? It's the vaccines that's doing that, folks. So if you take away a vaccine mandate for an infectious disease, such as any of those, and you send your unvaccinated to school and then they come in contact with another unvaccinated child who has measles, they're going to pick up that, they're going to bring it into your home, which is unvaccinated, and your whole family get it. He wants you to be able to have that decision-making process so you can say whether or not you want your child to be vaccinated, that you and your doctor are the only ones qualified to make that decision. And that's on an infectious disease, a communicable disease. On the other hand, you got this man standing up there going, but we are going to stand in the door just like George Wallace in 1963, June 11th, Foster's Auditorium, University of Alabama. He's saying, segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever, as two black children tried to get in to sign in to the University of Alabama. He later relented because he knew he was just dumb and stupid with that statement. But that's how we remember Wallace. Ladapo, Kennedy, Nancy Mace, Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump, all of these people want to stand in the door to your care for everything except infectious diseases. They want to block care for gender dysphoric kids and adults even. They want to block that care. They want to be the one in the door of your home saying, no, we're not going to allow you to do that. Even though gender dysphoria is not communicable, it is not transmittable, it is not an infectious disease. They also want to do it over bodily autonomy and people having decisions over their own bodies. They want to be able to do that, and they are doing it. But yet, an infectious disease, something that can wipe out more than just one person or hurt one person, that hurts a community of people. No, you can have that freedom to make those choices on that one. Yep. So it got it backwards. This is hypocrisy 101, folks. They're opening the door to infectious diseases spreading and killing people, saying it's a fundamental parental right. But if you have a gender dysphoric kid, you don't have a parental right then, because this man and these other people all know better than you and your doctor and your kids and your families, even though what they are dealing with is not infectious. But yet The hypocrisy reigns. And I'm letting my stuff rise just a little bit over here. So we're dealing with a lot of this stuff. And that was over the weekend. That was this past weekend. Friday, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth got word from Libs of TikTok that a doctor, a highly qualified doctor, a surgeon, a family doctor, and a sports doctor, a commander in the Navy, leading teams of people who have, with recommendations all over the place and awards all over the place, this woman was highly regarded. But Libs of TikTok said, you need to fire these people, this person, Pete, because they had a pride flag in their background. They had pronouns in their biography on LinkedIn. 6 hours later, Pete Hegseth goes, pronouns updated, she, her, fired. That was really, oh my God. Why? Had nothing to do with meritocracy, had nothing to do with skill and ability, had nothing to do with being the best in your field. It had everything to do with the fact that they can't stand trans people. And that, my friend, is what it was all about with Pete Hegseth. And Dr. Janelle Mara is a phenomenal individual. I know Dr. Mara. I know so many of these others. I know Bree Fram, Colonel Bree Fram, Space Forces scientist, a space scientist, currently on indefinite leave until they are relieved and let go. Bree is highly qualified. She's a great person. I know Bree Fram. They spent years. She's been doing this for 20 some years, 23 years, kicking her out. Why? They think somebody who's got gender dysphoria is a problem. But I'm going to tell you something. All these years, they've never once had a bad report. They've never once had something happen in their record, in their FedRep, that said, this person is not worthy of command. And she has been advanced through ranks, all the way up to a colonel in 06 in the Space Force, formerly in the Air Force. Emily Schilling, commander in the United States Navy, a fighter pilot, squadron commander, highly skilled and trained, no bad reports anywhere along the way, actually one of the best. The only reason Emily's kicked out, well, because, you know, it makes them feel funny to have transgender people around them. So it just, these are the things that have been happening here just in the last little bit, folks. And then you go to Texas. Then you go down to Texas, folks. I have no problem at all with what that they did about the 10 Commandments in the schools. Put them up there, whatever you want, that's fine, but make sure you don't do it in such a way as to offend people who aren't Christian. This country was not founded in that way. All Texas has to do is go back to their original constitution for when they had their own country, the Texas Republic. There was a clause in the Constitution in 1836 that said no one who is a pastor, because they had an obligation to their church, to their parishioners. 1836. States in the United States had statutes on their books in the early 1800s that said exactly the same thing. The very first treaty of the United States, the Jay Treaty, which was with the Barbary pirates, the Muslims over in the Mediterranean who were kidnapping and hijacking shipping from Christian countries and holding them ransom and demanding exorbitant ransom, tried to do that with the United States. We signed a treaty deal with them. In the treaty, it said, the United States is a secular nation. That was in the early 1800s. Naturally, when the word got back to the United States, people got all up in arms over that because they considered themselves to be that. So back to Texas. Sure, put that up there. But what did you think the next step was going to be? Ken Paxton, Attorney General, issued a statement saying he wanted Texas to find a way to institute daily prayer in the school for all campuses across the whole state. My question for him is, are you going to have the 5 calls to prayer that the Muslims have? You can't discriminate against one. You can't put one above the other. Regardless of what I personally feel about any of those things, it's wrong. But yet, Paxton is working on doing just that. We knew that's the direction. We knew they would throw things at the wall. If part of it sticks, they would get that one to stick on for a little while, then they'd go to the next step. They have an end game that's out here, but they're playing over here on this side of it right now. Anyway, let me go ahead and put the stuff in the pan. I was doing that before I got distracted there. Hold on a minute. You can watch me do this. I got to cut open this package of muffin liners. Ham. Okay. And let's put a few of them down inside here. I need to get some gloves on for this one too, though. Okay, so I hope everybody's having a good evening. Right now, what I'm doing is I fixed a little bit of supper. I don't know if Mom liked any of it or not. I hope she did. But I know that I just have to keep on going, keep on going. Mom's doing fine. She's over here right now in her chair. Finally woke up. She was snoozing really good, and I had to wake her up. Say, eat some supper, Mom. You gotta eat some supper. Are you done with the plate, Mom? Yeah. Okay. Third time for the wine. Okay. We don't like such things like wine, do we? Okay. You want something else? I know I need to get you a chocolate drink, one of these nutritional drinks, because if you don't eat that, you got to have something else. Make sure your nutrition level stays up and all that. This thing, it's the best. Okay. So she's having trouble eating some of the spring rolls and stuff. So the next step was make sure she gets a nutritional drink because she's got to have some nutrition. And finish up with this. Put all this together. So you know what we're doing at this point in time. Pull up your hand lines where they go. Stay there. Okay. So anyway, I've had a good conversation with you. I hope you've been listening and enjoying what I'm doing. I'm hoping to be able to do more things along these lines where I can just kind of engage with you while I'm doing other things too, because there's a lot going on all the time. This thing called for filling these cups about 2/3 full. So put that in there and see what happens. I'm not sure how many we'll need. Let's put 9 at the moment. And I'm just going to use this really small ladle here. How big is that thing? It doesn't say, but it's probably like just a tablespoon size ladle. So we'll just scoop some out. And I'll put 2/3 in the cup. There we go with that one. And let's go with that next one. I was working earlier on the back of the house, well, on the side of the house actually, from Gideon, taking down some things for him as he wants to replace some siding and stuff. So I was done that. There. Maybe I can line them up here. Let's try something different. So these are wild berry muffins. Should be pretty good, but I'm trying to stay away from all the sweet stuff. I've been trying to adjust my diet because you can tell I've got a little bit of weight to lose here, and I've got to get the beach body shape. I'm hoping I can do that before 2028. No reason. Just it's a challenge. Come on. It really is. Put that there. Yeah, let's see what else we can do. We get them all here and watch while we do this. This is real time, right in the middle of supper, making a little dessert thing right here. Let's see where it goes. Okay. I'm gonna put some away. That one. This way. I think without the little cup liners or the muffin liners, these things they could feel like benign. Maybe with further the liners. Yeah, that's one of those ones. Let's go further. There's that one. That's not too first. So, what's your day been like? Mine has been busy. One thing that has been on my mind all day long is what happened with down in Florida with the lifting of the vaccine mandate. That lacks any kind of rationality. There's no logic to it. You lift the mandate for infectious diseases, for vaccines to help slow down and stop infectious diseases, saying parents have a right to an autonomy over their own health care for themselves, their family, and in consultation with their doctor that the government shouldn't be there. That's Dr. Joseph Ladapo. That's what he said. But in the same breath, well, a couple of weeks before, he says, if you have gender dysphoria and you have a gender dysphoric kid, no, we're going to be the one standing in that door, just blocking you from getting the care that you and your doctor need, that you and your doctor have determined that your child needs, or you as an adult or a teenager that you might need. No, we're going to be the ones bullying you and telling you can't do that, even though it's not contagious. But vaccine mandates are for contagious diseases. I'm still just stunned by the stupidity. Okay. I'm still going. The muffins are going into the cups. Muffin Man. Muffin Man. I think, was it Muffin Man or Sandman? I don't know which. So Sandman's a song by Town. I feel like it's out there. I gotta find some more of these cups. Okay, here's another one. That's not 2/3 full. It's more like a quarter. Man, we're getting there. Just hang on tight, folks. Hang on tight. Now, you know how you're supposed to use a bowl of cake mix, right? You have to leave a little in there so you can snack on it. I always did that for my kids. I know Mom did it for us. She'd hand us the bowl and the spoon. But I'm not going to. I'm trying to get away from these sweet things. Got to have the beach body by 2028 or 29 or 30, whatever. I do really want to get down to St. Kitts and Nevis in the next year or so. That's on my bucket list. I want to get down to St. Kitts and Nevis. Ostensibly, this is what I tell everybody. I want to go down there because, that's where Alexander Hamilton was born back around 1750 or 55, somewhere in that period of time. He left around when he was 17 years old and went to New York. Actually, he had written a paper, a news story about a hurricane that came through, and people in New York and the people along the business that he was running, well, actually some of the importers he was using, because it was his family-owned business. His mom, actually, not anybody else. His dad was never around. Can you imagine that actually happened in the 1700s? Yeah, it did. And Hamilton turned out all right. Except he got into a duel. That was wrong. So, finally got the cake or the muffins in the pan. But now how long is it? About 10 minutes, I think, maybe, put this in the oven. All right, something like that, 10 to 15 minutes. I'll have to check it and see. Let me see something. Hold on. Your towel needs to be removed. Are you wiping your fingers on it?
Yeah.
Okay. There. Get the water off the table.
So that's what we're going to do. I'll fill up my blouse and velvet.
Right. All right. So, uh, anyway, yeah, I want to go down to St. Kitts and Nevis. Hamilton was born in, I think, what's the name of that little town? Charlestown, Nevis. I want to go down there and walk in his footsteps and go down there and, be where he was. I know it's changed a lot. Yes, I know it's changed a lot. You don't have to tell me. I know. But I know that there's a library and a museum there. And, I'm just a big nerd. I like what Alexander Hamilton did for the U.S. And he actually did support tariffs. And his rationale was that since the United States is a new nation, is small economically and all that, then it was in our best interest to put tariffs on things coming into the country so that our industries would grow. Our own native industries and technologies would grow, give them a chance to survive in a world economy, the global economy. Hamilton knew what was coming. But he also pointed out when he's talking about those tariffs is that when you do become hegemonic, at that time it would have been the British Empire, when you do have that kind of power and authority around the world, even in the 1700s, then tariffs were no longer important to you. You were trying to find ways to open up markets so that you could sell your excess goods around the world. You didn't want tariffs on your stuff going into other countries. So he knew there was a balancing act going on with tariffs. It was good for small economies, but bad for large ones. And we're kind of a large one, the largest. But I understand the rationale for it, though. We're trying to bring back in industry and stuff like that have fled to those countries where there were fewer impediments to getting things made to sell in those economies, okay? They worked their way around it. But anyway, I want to go down there and walk in the steps of Alexander Hamilton. I've already been to New York. I know, yeah, been there, done that. That's where he went. Columbia. It was Columbia where he actually went to. It wasn't called Columbia back then. I forget it was New York University or so. I don't know. It's a different name for it, but it's Columbia now. So, but obviously also it's down in the Southern Caribbean and they have some really good water, oceanfront water, and tourists. But when I go on places like that, every place I've been around the country, I do not want to go to a place that is a tourist trap. I don't want to go where the tourists are going. I want to be where the people are who live in those areas. That's how you learn about the people there. The touristy stuff is designed for the tourist. So even in Grand Cayman, a small island, I found a way to get out into the countryside where the people, the support staff for all of the other touristy stuff actually lived and had property and had stores, small community stores. Rented a little Airbnb place that was right beside a little community store. I mean, not big, it's small. It was like, it reminded me of walking into an old timey store in Bristol Creek. Screen door, you walk in, it's got the stuff on the shelves, and it just looked like down home country store. And the people there were the people who lived there. And so I get to interact with people like that. And that's what I found really fascinating. That's what I've done all across the country. So I've tried to change this into something a little bit different this evening while I'm fixing the muffins, the wild berry muffins. That will be a follow-up for the rest of the stuff here. We go see what's wrong with my sister. Right there. And Any bets on whether she ate the spring rolls? What do you think, Mom? You think Irma ate the spring rolls?
I don't know. But yeah,
Let's get Mom's house. Let's go see what kind of. So I have two under flavor as well as some mashed potatoes and stuff and piece of toast. Maybe 1.5. Irma ate 1.5 of those spring rolls.
it,
Yeah, but she said she didn't like it.
I didn't like it really.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
So what? Probably it was not successful.
Yeah, that could be it too. I did cook. I fixed them inside the air fryer, which made them a little bit harder on the outside. Crispier, had a crispier texture. So anyway, you all come back tomorrow around noon ish, and we'll do it again. And I can guarantee you there'll be something else that comes along. But the thing I want to leave you with for the path forward this evening, this is what I want you to learn. I've got my gloves on still. This is what I want you to know. What's the takeaway from all of this? I can handle all of this kind of thing for myself. I can handle all the negativity and all the attacks. I can stand in that place for you. Don't put yourself into this so much that you become fearful, that you start doing things you would not otherwise do. And for heaven's sake, if you feel the urge to throw a rock at an ICE vehicle, or someone out here is protecting those ICE agents around this country, I'm going to be the one who gets in your face about it, because that is wrong. Have a great evening, everybody.